Do you ever feel like you are coasting through life? Not crashing, not flying, just floating. Comfortable enough to not complain, but too numb to feel alive. That's the quiet tragedy no one talks about. Mediocrity. It doesn't hit like a crisis. It creeps in, slowly. You stop dreaming big, you stop taking risks, and before you know it, you've built a perfectly decorated cage, made of convenience, fear, and low expectations. But here's the truth. Mediocrity isn't a life sentence. It's a series of tiny choices. Because greatness, it's not gifted, it's forged. In pain, in struggle, in defiance of everything that tries to make you settle. Most of us have been conditioned to chase ease, shortcuts, hacks, fast wins. We scroll past curated perfection on social media and start to believe success should be effortless. But what if that very chase is what's killing our growth? What if struggle isn't a detour, but the path? Discomfort isn't punishment, but direction. And suffering? It might just be the signal that you are avoiding the exact challenge that could transform you. In this video we are going to confront the two forces that keep you stuck in good enough, avoidance and entropy, and show you how to turn pain into fuel, discipline into freedom, and resistance into transformation. You won't find shallow life hacks here, but if you're ready to stop playing small, if you're hungry for something real, then stay with me, because the road to greatness doesn't start with a plan, or a guru, or the perfect moment. It starts with a decision, one you can make right now. We've been sold a lie, that if you avoid pain, you'll be happy, that success should be smooth, life should be easy, and struggle means you are doing something wrong. But here's the truth. Struggle isn't the opposite of happiness. It's the price of meaning. Most people spend their entire lives trying to dodge discomfort. We chase careers that look impressive but leaves us empty. We stay in relationships that feel safe but kill our spirit. We numb ourselves with scrolling, shows, substances, anything to keep from facing the truth. And the truth is this. Pain is a compass. Peck wrote, "Life is difficult. This is a great truth. One of the greatest truths, but instead of embracing it, most people moan endlessly, hoping the universe will take their problems away. But pain doesn't mean something is broken. It means something needs attention. Anxiety, boredom, frustration, those aren't random. They are signals, warnings, clues that you are off course. And when you ignore them, they don't vanish, they mutate into burnout, bitterness, depression, into a life of quiet suffering. Psychiatrist Carl Jung once said, "Neurosis is always a substitute for a legitimate suffering," and that hits hard because if we don't confront the real problems in our lives, we start suffering in ways that are meaningless and endless. So ask yourself this: what discomfort are you running from? What's the hard conversation you haven't had? What's the dream you buried because it felt too big, too risky? We all want peace. But peace isn't the absence of struggle, it's what comes after you face the storm. The good news? You don't have to tackle everything at once. Growth isn't about masochism, it's about choosing the right struggles, the ones that make you stronger. Start with one thing, one truth, one problem you are finally ready to stop avoiding. Name the pain, feel it, face it, and instead of numbing it, listen to it. Because the people who build meaningful, powerful lives aren't the ones who avoid suffering. They are the ones who choose which suffering is worth enduring. And in doing so, they transform it into power. Let's talk about the enemy we rarely name, laziness. Not the cartoon version where someone lies on the couch eating chips all day. Real laziness is deeper, it's psychological, and it's dangerous. It's the whisper that says, "Why bother?" It's the endless scrolling, the excuse you are making, the "I'll do it tomorrow" that somehow becomes next year, and here's the kicker, it usually wears a disguise. It shows up as perfectionism. If I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. Or as cynicism. What's the point? Nothing matters anyway. Or as overplanning. I just need to research a little bit more before I start. But underneath all of it, avoidance, resistance, fear. Scott Peck called laziness the original sin, the inner gravity that pulls us away from growth. Even the most driven, ambitious people are affected. It's not about how busy you are, it's about what you're avoiding underneath all the motion. Laziness is the force of entropy as it manifests in our lives. Entropy. That slow slide into disorder. It happens to the mind just like it happens to the systems. If you are not pushing forward, you are quietly falling back. And the scary thing? Most of us don't even know it's happening. Laziness wears a mask so convincing that we convince ourselves we are trying, when really we are standing still. Nietzsche had a name for this force, the spirit of gravity. It's the heaviness that drags you down when you dare to become something more. And his antidote wasn't guilt or shame, it was laughter. Not by wrath, but by laughter do we slay. Come, let us slay the spirit of gravity. That's powerful because growth doesn't require self-hate, it needs self-honesty and a little rebellion. Call out your laziness, laugh as it lies, and then move anyway. The key isn't perfection, it's momentum. And momentum doesn't come from waiting for motivation, it comes from action. Any action. So ask yourself, where is laziness disguising itself in your life? What fears are hiding beneath your justifications? And what would happen if you choose joy in the effort? If you made discipline your art form? Because laziness isn't a lack of energy, it's the refusal to use it for what matters. And freedom? It begins the moment you choose to rise. There's a moment in every life where the pain of staying the same becomes worse than the pain of change. It sneaks up on you. A career that once felt exciting now feels hollow. A relationship that once felt comforting now feels suffocating. A dream you used to chase now gathers dust in a forgotten journal. This is what Nietzsche called the threshold of suffering, the point where avoidance becomes unbearable, where the fantasy collapses, where the discomfort you've been numbing finally breaks through and demands to be heard. And you're left with two options: stay in the pain that drains you, or walk through the pain that shapes you. Most people freeze, they wait, they hope things will fix themselves. But transformation doesn't come from waiting, it comes from deciding that the pain will no longer be wasted. You see, not all suffering is equal. There's neurotic suffering, the kind that comes from avoidance, denial, stagnation. And then there's necessary suffering, the kind that comes from facing hard truths, breaking patterns, and choosing growth over comfort. One keeps you stuck, and the other moves you forward. And when you finally choose necessary suffering, when you stop resisting and start moving, you begin to heal. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. This is the moment people look back on and say, that's when everything changed. Not because the external world shifted, but because they did. The shift happens when you realize you've been carrying a burden that isn't yours, a story that says you are not capable, not worthy, not ready. Burn that story, reclaim your fire, take the first brave step toward the thing you've been avoiding. It won't feel good at first, it will feel raw, vulnerable, exposed. But that's where the real work begins. When you reach your threshold, you don't need a master plan, you need movement, you need to reclaim your agency. Because the threshold of suffering, that's not a wall, it's a door. And what's waiting on the other side isn't perfection, it's progress, it's power. It's the beginning of who you were always meant to become. Let's talk about success and how it's been hijacked. From the time we were kids, we were taught that success looks a certain way: the right job, the right house, the right image, accolades, applause, admiration. But what if you get all of that and still feel empty? That's not success, that's performance. We chase validation like oxygen, hoping someone else's approval will make us feel whole. But external success without internal alignment is just a louder kind of loneliness. Scott Peck put it bluntly: mental health is an ongoing process of dedication to reality at all costs. And the reality is, most of us aren't chasing our dreams, We are chasing templates handed to us by parents, schools and social media, and somewhere along the way we forgot to ask, what do I actually want? True success isn't about being liked, it's about being whole, and wholeness comes from alignment, when your actions reflect your values, not your fears. So what if instead of asking, what will people think, you asked, what does my soul need right now? What if you stopped optimizing for likes and started optimizing for integrity? That's when things start to shift. You stop waiting for permission, you stop auditioning for approval, you stop trading your peace for popularity. This doesn't mean quitting your job tomorrow or running off to the woods. It means looking at your life with clear eyes and asking, where am I performing? Where am I pretending? Where am I betraying myself just to fit in? And then choosing truth, even when it costs you something. It's not always easy to walk away from the familiar, but safety isn't the same as sanity, comfort isn't the same as clarity, and being liked, it's not the same as being alive. Redefining success isn't about settling, it's about reclaiming what matters, living in alignment, feeling at home inside yourself, no matter what the world thinks, because real success, it's quiet, it's deep, it's the peace that comes from knowing you are living in truth, even when it's hard, even when no one's clapping. Changing your life isn't one giant leap, it's 1,000 small rebellions, tiny decisions that stack up over time and become something unshakable. Because the war against mediocrity, it's fought in the mundane, in your habits, in your reactions, in what you choose when no one is watching. It's not about waiting for inspiration or some magical turning point. It's about waking up and choosing again and again to grow when it's easier to coast. Mediocrity isn't a fate, it's a pattern, and you can break it. Not tomorrow, not when you have more time, but now. Because here's the truth, no one drifts their way into greatness, you fight for it. One decision at a time, one day at a time. You fight by facing pain instead of fleeing it, by choosing growth over comfort, by naming your laziness, confronting your fears, and showing up when it would be easier to disappear. The road less traveled isn't glamorous. It's rugged, uncertain, and often lonely, but it leads somewhere real, somewhere deep, somewhere alive. You won't find a perfect map, but if you commit to the journey, to facing your struggles, embracing necessary suffering, and rejecting the life of ease, you'll find something better. Yourself. So ask yourself this: what do I want to become? And what am I willing to struggle for? Because this world doesn't need more spectators, it needs warriors, not of ego, but of discipline, courage, and soul. You are called. Will you choose to be one of the few? If this resonated with you, subscribe, like the video, and drop a comment with your first step forward. This fight starts today.